New Mexico, a study in viticulture and the current wine industry. When you hear New Mexico, wine is probably not the first thing that comes to mind. You're thinking desert, uh, beautiful landscape, Georgia O'Keeffe art, that all, and chilies, excellent spicy food, that all makes sense. But wine is really not going to be the first thing. However, what's really interesting, it's considered to be one of the oldest wine producing regions in the country. And grapes were first found here in 1629. Uh, Amazingly, they produced over 1 million gallons of wine in the 1800s, but unfortunately, because there was uh, floods, and then of course the which destroyed most of the vineyards, and then of course the 1920s brought us prohibition. Uh, it wasn't until really the 1970s that the wine became back into play, and by this point, California had really made a much more powerful surge. Uh, Other known fact about New Mexico, it's one of the fifth largest states in the U.S. It's got a very diverse grapes to grow, and this is also from their population, with it being the highest Hispanic population in the U.S. with 49.78%. And that really kind of speaks again to the diversity of the food, to the diversity of the wine, and sort of also, again, this sort of welcoming that they do at their vineyards to show their wine. New Mexico has three designated AVAs. The first being the Membres Valley, which is the largest Appalachian area with an elevation of 4,300 to 6,000 feet. It has a alluvial river deposit soil and clay and loam, and with those hot summer days and cool nights and cold winters. The smallest AVA is the Mesilla Valley, which runs also along the Rio Grande into Texas. It's got the highest elevation at 9,000 feet. And again, the soil is alluvial, sandy loam, clay, and sedimentary deposits. Um, the middle section is the Middle Rio Grande Valley, which actually has the most concentration of wineries in this area, which runs along New Mexico, Santa Fe to South Albuquerque of New Mexico. The elevation here is a little bit higher than the Membres Valley, but it also has really well draining soil, dry desert climate, and again, these soils actually work really well for the vines to struggle a bit. No real big surprise here that the most popular grape varieties to grow are Cabernet Sauvignon, Chardonnay, and Merlot. But what's interesting is some of the cool climate grapes that do well in the northern area, which are Riesling, Gewürztraminer, Pinot Noir, and Cabernet Franc. These help actually with some of the sparkling production, which New Mexico has been put on the map for. The southern climate really reflects again these Spanish, Italian, and Rhone styles, which is really interesting, and you can see a lot with the Montepulciano, the Sangiovese, the Grenache, the Mourvedre, all of the Tempranillo, where these sort of Spanish roots and Italian sort of blend together. I wanted to highlight some pretty cool producers out of New Mexico. First off is the Gruet Winery, which I remember hearing about long ago because I had heard something about really good sparkling wine coming from New Mexico, and I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Which is pretty cool. In 2011, they were the number 43 spot in the Wine Spectator Top 100. It's sort of an interesting story of that Gilbert Gruet was traveling through the U.S. and ran into some European winemakers who said they were planting some vineyards in Ingle, which is about 170 miles south of the city of Albuquerque, and that they were having good results from it. So they decided to purchase some of the land and started planting grapes in 1984. And since been quite successful. And this is a family-owned business. And another cool thing about them is that they have in 2024 Carrie Gruet was the first female head winemaker in Gruet's history. So I love that it's family yet progressing along. The Viviac Winery is one of the highest vineyards in the world, over 6,000 feet high. and it's also been declared as one of the most beautiful wineries. They do a lot of really interesting partnerships with the Museums of New Mexico Foundation, and they also are part of the Santa Fe Wine and Chili Festival, which is almost a 30-year-old festival, which is in September. And that is something as well that I think is also ties into what's happening. Good things that are happening in New Mexico is they're doing these festivals that are going on and have grown. That one had been only 20 restaurants when it started, and I think 20 wineries, and now it's up to 90 wineries. So that's really promoting the tourism as well, which is I think is a great thing about New Mexico. The Shahan Winery is another one that I think. Their motto is flavor of harvest in every glass, and it's all made exclusively from Mexico grown grapes, which I think is a pretty admirable thing to do and not easy to do. What's interesting about New Mexico as well is they're obviously not exporting much, so it's really becoming a destination place for people to try to seek out this wine, and so that's where again they're bringing that culture together with the Native American and female Hispanic winemakers, and just trying to make this experience at their cellar doors to feel this local diversity throughout New Mexico. One other thing to promote as well is that they have the Initiatives Vineyard Restoration Fund, which is really trying to get more money to these wineries, and it provides good economic growth and impact for jobs and tourism. And it also is, again, trying to focus on maybe that next generation of winemakers that are coming up the pike to stay in New Mexico and just further develop it. So lots of great things happening in New Mexico. I'm actually excited. I am visiting there in August, and I plan to visit some of these wineries.